deep in a bamboo forest, an old, childless bamboo cutter named Okina went about his work. One day, he noticed a mysterious, shining bamboo stalk. As he approached, the stalk split open, revealing a tiny, radiant baby inside, no bigger than his thumb. Astonished and overjoyed, Okina gently lifted the baby and carried her home to his wife Auna. They named her Kaguya, meaning shining princess of the supple bamboo, and decided to raise her as their own daughter. Kaguya grew with astonishing speed. In just a few months, she transformed from a tiny infant into a young woman of unparalleled beauty. Word of her exquisite looks and gentle nature spread far and wide, capturing the hearts of everyone who heard of her. Her presence brought immense joy to the old couple, but her origins remained a mystery. As if by a miracle, every time Okina cut bamboo, he would find gold nuggets inside the stalks. Soon, the humble family became wealthy, and they built a grand mansion for their beloved daughter. Princes and nobles from all over the land traveled to see Kaguya, each hoping to win her hand in marriage. 5 particularly persistent princes pleaded for her affection, but Kaguya had no desire to marry any of them. She was content living with her adoptive parents. To deter her suitors, Kaguya devised a series of impossible tasks. She asked one prince to bring her the stone begging bowl of the Buddha. To another, she requested a jeweled branch from the mythical island of Horai. A third was tasked with finding the legendary robe made from the fur of a pirate. The fourth had to retrieve a colored jewel from a dragon's neck, and the fifth a cowrie shell born from a swallow. The first prince returned with a common sooty bowl, claiming it was the Buddha's. But Kaguya saw through his deception instantly. The second prince commissioned master craftsmen to create a magnificent jeweled branch. But when he presented it, the craftsman arrived demanding payment, exposing his lie. The third prince bought a robe from a merchant in China, but it burned to ashes when tested with fire, proving it wasn't the real thing. The fourth prince gave up after a terrible storm nearly drowned him, and the fifth was seriously injured while trying to snatch a shell from a swallow's nest. All 5 suitors failed, leaving Kaguya in peace. Even the Emperor of Japan heard of Kaguya's beauty and sought to make her his empress. He visited her, and though he was kind and respectful, Kaguya gently refused him, explaining that she could not go with him as she was not from his country. They began exchanging letters, forming a deep and respectful friendship, but Kaguya remained in her home. As the years passed, Kaguya grew increasingly melancholic. Whenever she gazed at the full moon, her eyes would fill with tears. Her worried parents asked her what was wrong, and she finally confessed her secret. She was not of this world. She was a celestial being from the moon, sent to Earth as a temporary punishment. Now her time was up, and her people were coming to take her back during the next full moon. The old couple was heartbroken. They begged the emperor for help, and he sent a vast army to surround their home, determined to protect Kaguya from the celestial entourage. But as the full moon rose high in the sky, a brilliant light descended from the heavens. The soldiers were blinded by its radiance, their arrows rendered useless. A procession of celestial beings floated down, led by a royal chariot. Kaguya knew her time had come. She thanked her parents for their love and kindness, tears streaming down her face. She wrote a final heartfelt letter to the emperor, attaching a small vial of the elixir of immortality. One of the celestial beings placed a feathered robe on her shoulders, and in an instant, all her sadness and memories of Earth vanished. She stepped into the chariot and ascended back to the moon, leaving her grieving parents and a sorrowful emperor behind. The old bamboo cutter and his wife soon fell ill from grief, and the emperor, unable to bear the thought of living forever without Kaguya, took the elixir to the highest mountain in Japan, Mount Fujian, burned it, hoping its smoke would reach her a final poignant message to the distant princess of the moon.